Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Founder. I am your podcast host, Luke Beastall, and we're in the studio today in Nottingham, and I have an amazing guest with us today. Her name is Sophie, and I'm just going to introduce her in just a second, but I think it's worth sharing how, we sort of met. Obviously, we've known each other. We go back to the local days in our town, and we've sort of followed paths, seen what each other's been up to, and we're both now in a similar... we are in a similar field actually, in industry with health and wellness, but she's going to talk a little bit about what she does. But she's actually an owner of a company called Gratitude Health Clinic, and she's been in it the past 4.5 years, and she is transforming people's life, specifically through actually healing from within. And I share this because obviously you would have seen some of the guests that we've had on the show, a lot of them sort of go, I sort of transform my life from within. So we're going to be able to delve into this story. There's a lot of stuff that I know, because it is actually Sophie's first podcast episode. So a massive appreciation for that. Actually sharing stuff that probably people's not heard before. So I know we go back, but look, I want to welcome you to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited. So I think you kind of shared exactly you've just, briefly. So 4.5 years I've been in the industry for with health and wellness. I've always sort of struggled with my own health in terms of digestion, always complaining about, stomach issues and being called a hypochondriac, as family used to say. But I was actually suffering, and it's something that I changed, I carried out food intolerance test. I had colon hydrotherapy treatments, and just really simple changes to your lifestyle that can really make a difference. It's all under control now, and I just want to be able to share that with everyone else, and that it's not a taboo kind of subject.
Yeah, this is good though. So obviously, we've been chatting before, and I think this will be really good for our audience that are watching in, that there's going to be a lot of awareness pieces here that people can look at. And obviously for you, probably back when you said that you had those gut issues that probably people thought it's not, or you didn't really know what it was. Yeah. So now, would you say from your own experiences of having these gut issues is that been sort of like your wake up or your awakening call to come into this to help give back to people that maybe struggles with the same thing? Yeah,
definitely. So, I've always wanted to kind of, support people almost in the nursing sector, if you like. And I have been called, a natural healer, as you say, from healing within.
Yeah, nice.
It all starts within. Obviously, there's a lot more issues now with people with having intolerances, even more so than allergies and things like that, but also skin issues, mental health, and it's all connected, the gut to the brain. And it's an area, like I said, that people perhaps don't want to talk about, but a lot of people now are, and it's just making that awareness that if we do look after the gut, it will look after us. Again, there's colon cancer, there's, diverticulitis, colitis, Crohn's, people having sort of stoma bags and things like that. So there's a lot of people now on, different platforms that are sharing their experiences, because it's something that they hide and they're, sort of afraid of sharing, but actually it's a normal thing and it's becoming very common now. So, raising that awareness will be able to help other people's journeys and see that there are other things to offer if they are turned away from, hospitals or GPs, that there is someone to turn to that specialises in that area.
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot more accessibility now. This will be good for people to know that if they are having some sort of issue, that there is a lot of avenues. So for you then, when did you start to notice in your life that there was something not right internally with the gut?
I think it was more as like a teenager. I think probably 16 plus, and it was when I was 18, that's when I was introduced to colon hydrotherapy treatments, and it wasn't till a few years later that I actually carried out an intolerance test. A great treatment. Again, I didn't really tell my friends, it was something that was a private area that I had to deal with, but I know that it really helped, and I've been having the treatments and obviously carry them out for other people now for 12 years. So obviously in the business for 4.5, but yeah, for 12 years I've been having the treatment, and it is, if anyone ever took colon hydrotherapy away, I'd be very sad, because it is a fantastic treatment, and it's one of those that, you know, you've got to try before you put it down, because actually you'll be surprised that it is one of the best detoxes that you could possibly have. So that helped to support me. And then obviously looking at my foods, you know, what doesn't suit me, I was able then to maintain feeling better, de-bloated, more energy, you know, not having those issues. But I do remember, you know, I must have been a pain in the bum, but literally sort of saying, you know, I've got stomach cramping, I'm running to the toilet, like, you know, just not feeling body confident because I was so bloated. And, you know, I was working really hard at the gym, but not seeing the progression, you know, within my stomach and things like that. But because now it's all under control, I do feel comfortable and, you know, more energy and feel better in myself generally. So
this is really good, and obviously I think it's nice that you're sharing stuff like terminology as well. I mean, talk about colons, people talk about, you know, clearing their insides out and thinking, you know, what a load of BS, basically. You know, I'm not saying everybody,
absolutely.
but probably people are aware of it. Obviously you've fully experienced it and you've never left it since. It's now that you obviously, you know, you're giving back to people.
Yeah.
Just for people to sort of maybe, I guess, check in, and that again with that awareness piece of knowing if there is sort of an issue that maybe, because I think we're great as English people to have a problem but mask it, or have a problem and just cover it up and say crack on, we'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
What signs? I know you said stomach cramps, rushing to the toilet, but when was that sort of time where you thought, like maybe in your teens, that you was like, something's not right here? And how was it affecting you day to day?
I think everyone's, you know, got different levels of it. So someone could be severe, and I've treated clients that have kind of said, I'm looking where the closest toilet is, I can't leave the house, you know, it's affecting my dating, like even things like that, really? Just because, you know, even men saying that because they're bloated and they're not confident. So from all different areas. But I think for me, I think it was just more my school years. And like I said, I was going to the gym, not seeing any progression, and just thought something's got to give. I'm going to try the treatment. And and then it would just be that I'd have the treatment every few months and keeping on top of it, you know, that I was advised with the sort of professional at the time. So the reason, obviously, why I've gone into it is because it was sort of lockdown time, you know, and I thought I'm going to try something different, and I don't know if it's going to work or not. But yeah, I went for the training, did all my courses, and never looked back. So it's
this is crazy. So obviously, everyone's different, which, you know, like people deal with it differently. I think it's just sort of, I mean, I'm looking at it from a point of it's a human level where, you know, obviously it's great that what you're doing now, but we're gonna definitely go into that way. Obviously, this journey sort of evolved for you. I mean, COVID times, obviously everybody's got some level of craziness that sort of happened, unprecedented times. But just from a point of, obviously you're a young teen, and you're probably, like you say, you're getting boyfriends, you know, you're sort of going college route, you know, you sort of got the life ahead of you.
Yeah.
And then this sort of issue comes where it's affecting your gut. And obviously you said earlier on, which I think is so true, like your gut and mind sort of connected. Did it affect you mentally in any way? Was there anything, or how did you deal with it? If you did deal with it positively, like share that experience.
Yeah, I think mentally I was always at the doctor's, and I think, you know, there was probably a record that had been, and it was tummy issues, and then, you know, you're panicking thinking it's something else, and just trying to literally get to the bottom of the, you know, the reason why you feel the way that you're feeling. But again, it was just bloating, tummy cramping, you know, people having diarrhea, which obviously I'm quite open to talking about,
of course,
because I'm used to that terminology. But I think, you know, you was just going to the GP and then being turned away, no further scans, you know, anything like that. And I thought, I'm going to go private, you know, which a lot of people now are. But I think it was just kind of following, you know, what I could work with and seeing the changes. And then, like I said, seeing the changes, I've not gone back, I've just gone forward with it. And there's definitely an improvement. But I think mentally, and I do see some of my clients that it does affect their mental health, again with confidence, but also, you know, it does affect the brain. And, you know, there'll be facts out there, statistics and things like that. But when you see some of my clients leave the clinic after having the treatments that I've had, it's amazing for you to be able to, you know, heal them also. And they're sort of on that journey behind me of what I was going through, and to see them come out the other end that, you know, they've got more energy, they're sleeping better, they're, you know, feeling more confident, they're, you know, some people haven't got out of bed, of being off work poorly, been to the GP, nothing's going on, they've come to see me and they go out smiling, which is amazing. So, yeah, just being able to transfer what I was going through, you know, and there's lots of different generations now, but I feel like the younger generation, in comparison to mine, obviously nearly being 30.
Here we go. Make you sound old, you know.
Is, you know, people are more into the wellness era now. They're not going out, they're not eating rubbish. Everyone is having a balance, but definitely seeing that, which is really good, because I think if they did start later with, you know, the preservatives of food and sweeteners and stuff like that, I think, you know, things wouldn't be so good for them. But I think them getting into stuff like this now is really good for the health and well-being.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you on that. And I think it's good as well, obviously, it's that feeling of fulfillment that they've come out, or they're coming out better than they did when they came in. Obviously, you've had treatment, you've experienced a lot of different things. Being able now to go into an industry and be able to do that for people is so amazing and fulfilling. I wanted to ask though, you know, because obviously you're someone who's giving back to people. Obviously, you're giving back to yourself as well. Have you, you know, from an early age, or even like maybe as Sophie, as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, have you always been that person that helps people, or been that, wanted that?
I've always been a caring person, I would say, and looking out for other people, putting other people's needs before mine. There's a few different job roles that I wanted initially. Never thought I'd be doing what I do, but I absolutely love it. But so that was being a midwife. And that's what I wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
I did look down that route, and also an air hostess, travel the world. So, yeah.
Did you actually tap into any of those, or was it just an idea?
It was kind of researching, what, you know, and then I kind of thought, especially with midwifery, that it was too late for me to start. But I know it's never too late.
No, I know.
And with courses and things like that. And going to university. But yeah, no, I'm happy with, you know, what I've achieved so far. And and obviously there's different services that come under it all, that all combine together. So I do see lots of different people, and I love my job.
It's well, you know, you can tell that's really good. It's just I find that, you know, from such a young age, there's sort of like a trait and personality that you have that sort of goes to where you sort of end up. Even if it's not your business, it could be just even a hobby that you sort of do. What, you know, as a kid growing up, what was that like? What was your upbringing like? What was family life like? What did you sort of do?
I mean, my mum, she was a single mum, you know, and she did amazing looking after all of us. I mean, there's 4 of us now.
Busy.
Yeah, very busy.
So you've got, what, siblings? 3? Have you got any brothers, or just all sisters?
Brother and 2 sisters.
Right.
Yeah.
So
she's still got hands full now, but but because I'm the oldest. But I think it's she did what, you know, she could for us, and she's amazing, and I do idolise her in terms of what she does as well. She works for a charity, and she's you know, amazing in terms of supporting people. So I think I've sort of followed her footsteps in terms of, you know, healing, supporting, being able to give back, and something that we've gone through as well. So we've sort of in that industry, same sort of,
So your mum sort of passed that down to you in a way, so it's like that's been your role model, really looking up to your mum and seeing what she's been able to do for years. And what was, so this is linking really well, it's actually quite nice. With, obviously, what did you do sort of as a kid growing up, hobby-wise? Did you go into, what was your sort of...
So I used to be quite active, so still am now, but very much. Went to the gym at 16. No, I did obviously like ice skating, dancing, ballroom dancing. I've done water skiing, but that was later on in life. And what else have I done? Yeah, a bit of dancing and stuff like that. I'm trying to think. Brownies, you know.
Brownies?
Yeah,
I
we used
love
to, you know, stand there with the badges and stuff. But yeah, you know, walking, hiking, stuff like that.
So you've always been active?
Yeah.
But your mum,
Yeah.
but your mum's always encouraged you to get out there, try new
Yeah,
things. Because obviously,
yeah.
just what I was listening to there,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because obviously we'll get onto it as well. But obviously we're parents now as
Yeah.
well, and you know it's nice to know that you can try loads of different
Yeah.
things and get
Yeah.
yourself out there and socialise and be
absolutely.
active and be healthy.
Yeah.
And be able to, like say, give back to yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important to, as a parent, still make time for yourself, because if essentially we've got to be strong for them, we've got to be, energised for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really important. But yeah, so that was my kind of. I mean, I used to love my trampoline at home. Never could backflip, but
Can you backflip now?
no, because I've got a dodgy knee from trampolining,
Oh,
so
is
I
it?
didn't do that.
How did you get that then? What happened? Did you have a fall?
Just from being on my trampoline so much, and my knee dislocated.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I do have to be careful now with sports, and that as well with, fitness and things like that. I looked down the personal training route as well.
Did you?
Years ago, yeah.
Oh, right.
So, and that for me...
I think you'd be good at that, actually.
Yeah,
Well, I do.
Yeah, might sign up for that tomorrow.
Sign up to it, so yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
It's my new course.
I don't know what.
But yeah, doing, squatting with a bar and everything, there's always that anxiety with my knee of... my knee dislocating because I had that sort of trampoline accident that,
So when you say dislocated, what, like twisted? Like
twisted,
hyperextended?
it would go back in.
Oh, I see.
One time it didn't, so I thought I was going to have to call an ambulance. But so I think there's always that anxiety of that I want to push myself further, but I guess you can't live like that. You've got to do what you can do.
Sure.
And build up the muscle around it, obviously, so... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do get, like, obviously there's going to be things that you sort of get, like, knockbacks on and stuff like that. But obviously, again, just sharing there, you've done a lot of stuff. Now, obviously, you are a mother of beautiful son, by the way. I love seeing the videos online. I'm very much like, because obviously, we are a daughter, we sort of love that stuff. How has that changed your life?
Yeah, massively.
Because everybody talks about, kids change it. But I'd love to know, what has it changed in you as a person?
I think... Yeah, no matter what, like, if you're having a bad day or you're not energised, you are, because, you've got them and they keep you going every day. Everything that you do, it's for yourself, but it's also for them as well, for a better quality of life. We're very outdoorsy, so, yeah, we're always trying new things. My mum kind of says, Sophie, you do know you can have a house, day in the house. And I'm like... No, we need to get out and do something, active. But no, he is amazing, and he's I'm proud of him, and he does light up the room when he walks in somewhere. You don't forget his name, so hopefully not in a bad way when he's older and, joking around.
Watching this back,
joking
10 years down the line.
Yeah, so, but no, I'm so proud of him, and I think he's going to do well when he's older.
What's something that you want to be able to sort of teach him or give to him as he's now growing up as a mother, like sort of a trait?
I think being a single parent as well, it is hard work, and I think he'll probably look back and he hopefully doesn't even recognise that it was just a normal life. I did everything that I could for him, and I just think go out and achieve what you want to achieve, don't ever, as they say, sort of dim the light kind of thing. You've got to go out there and shine kind of thing. So, I think I'll always support him with everything that he does. And just see, obviously, what... I don't know which way he's going to go, to be honest. Could be a singer, could be a dancer.
Is he singing now?
Could be a pilot.
Is he singing?
I mean, I'm teaching him a few songs, but...
A few notes. Yeah.
But I'm not really a singer, so but I'll support him in anything that he does. We've tried football, we've got dancing tomorrow, we've got part like drama kind of thing, so whatever. I mean, basketball, I'd love him to try something a bit different, but he's not quite old enough yet, so we'll get there.
I think what I love about that the most as well is the fact that you've just said, I'd want him to feel that he could achieve
Yeah.
whatever he wants to achieve. I think that coming from a mother, just from my opinion and hearing, you know, people come on here and mother,
Yeah.
I think is very sort of refreshing as well, if you know what I mean, because obviously as a mother you sort of protect and
Yeah.
you want to sort of make sure they're always okay, but at the same
Yeah.
time you've got to push them
Yeah.
to be able to be
Yeah.
whatever they want to be.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think things aren't handed on a plate. You know, some people may just fall lucky and it's, you know, they've got that support network compared to other people that may really, really have to work for something. But yeah, I'll always, you know, support him. But then, you know, I think everyone works for what they want to achieve. So I think if you put the work in, you get it, you know, it comes back to you. So
I think so. Yeah, I totally agree with that. You do get out what you put in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if you're sort of already saying about you've tried everything, you've danced, and you're giving him the opportunity
to
be
try.
able to try.
Yeah, yeah,
And that'll pay
absolutely.
them. So I've got a question. Then, so obviously you're a business owner.
Yeah.
You're a single mum, and you've got, you know, a young son
Yeah.
that you've obviously got to provide for,
Yeah.
look after. What's that like? Is it
Yeah.
obviously? I'm sure it comes with its challenges, and I know there's a lot more to it. But how do you juggle that? Because that must be so hard.
It is hard. I think I am really, you know, I'm really grateful that I set up the business before I was pregnant because I already you know, had like the foundations there.
Yeah.
And then obviously grew it through the pregnancy and obviously had to return to work. I think it was within 6 weeks. Whilst breastfeeding and everything else, so that was quite a lot of pressure.
Sure.
So obviously I wanted that for the business. I didn't want to kind of like let go of it and kind of think, you know, I need to restart again. So that was in my best interest for us to have, you know, a balanced life. So I continued that, and he went to nursery quite soon. But yeah, it does have its challenges. I think, you know, if you're going to go for it, you've got that life balance, but then, you know, so you're not missing out on things. You can leave, you're not working for someone else. But again, it's challenges that you can have a really busy week or you can have a really quiet week, or, you know, there's bills to be paid, and it's it can be quite, you know, different pressures from different areas, but yeah, you've just got to keep going.
So I agree with that. I think just the keep going part, but that's obviously hard because obviously you have to be strong for crew.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be strong for yourself, most importantly. Obviously, like you say, you've got overheads, responsibilities. What would you say has been, you know, having run your business now for 4.5 years, obviously now being a mum and, like I said, you're single mum and stuff, what's been the hardest thing that's probably not took you to might have took you to a breaking point or with this whole experience so far?
I think I don't know really. There's probably quite a few things like challenges, but my saying is that, you know, there's always generally a solution to every problem. So that is like my saying. If I'm having a bad time, I'm like, there's a solution for this, and I will. And people say you are a fighter because you won't stop, and
That's good.
you know, you'll look for something at the end of it, or it might be the wrong timing, you know. So I think it's almost that, is it like a mantra kind of thing that you tell to yourself that things will get better, and, you know, life is for living, and you've got to, you know, look at different situations. Okay, we can change that, or we can, you know, do this or whatever. So I think every obstacle, you know, it does make you stronger. So and since having crew, I think I've now got more of a voice, more independent, you know, and doing everything I can for him, really.
Yeah, you've got that purpose, I guess, as well.
Absolutely.
But where did you find this sort of, you know, this fight? Because I can feel this fight in you as well. And people say as well, never give up. Because I think we give up too easily.
Yeah.
You know, as people in today's society, we just throw the towel in.
Yeah.
We expect it all at once.
Yeah.
Expect the world for nothing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where did you build that?
I think it's just from probably being a single parent. So I've obviously got my family and friends to lean on. Obviously they have their own lives, but I think it's down to me. Like, without, you know, me, obviously my son relies on me.
Sure.
Then, you know, I've just kind of got to carry it really. But yeah, you know, family and friends are great. People, you know, are great to talk to. And yeah, I think it's just, I don't know.
Did you have it before though? Did you have the fight before you had crew, or was it?
I think it's since having crew.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, you know, there could be times when you're not feeling great and you think, oh, I'm just going to stay in bed today, or, you know, I'm not very well. But when you've got a child, it's a completely different ball game, isn't it? And I think, yeah, they get you up and they, you know, I'll always make it work. That's my sort of motto.
Yeah, but and I love that mantra. I love that motto. I just love this because obviously you're still running a business, you know, that as it's challenged like itself, there's so many positives to it as well. The easy option would be bye, I'll go and get a job that I know that I've got this coming in every month.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I know these hours that I work.
Yeah.
What's sort of stopping you from doing that? I'm just curious from a point.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, yeah, I mean, there can be times, as I mentioned, where it can be quiet and then busier periods. And then, you know, you do kind of, you know, something might break down and then it's a huge bill and you feel like you've hit a brick wall and you cry and you think, am I meant to be doing this? You know, and you're looking at, you know, I've looked at jobs before alongside the business as that's what I did originally as I was building the business up. And, you know, I think, no, like, I need, you know, this is on me. And again, whatever work you're going to put in, you're going to get out. It could just be one thing that you do and everything changes in that week. So it could be that you're having a bad day, not a bad life. And it's just looking at alternatives. Okay, what can I do? You know, but I think also as well, I'd be letting myself down if I closed the business and said, you know, it's one of my other priorities. It's like my other baby. So if I just threw the towel in, I'd be really letting myself down, and I'm not willing to do that. And I think that's where the fight's there as well. But yeah, and it's also having that flexibility. You know, I don't really want to work for someone else because I know that I'm working hard. You know, I'm putting the hours in. I'm stopping in the middle of a supermarket, replying to clients or on a call, you know, random times of the day. But I'm not willing. I've built that and I've supported people and I am passionate about it. And that's why I wouldn't work for someone else.
No, but that's great though. And I can tell you're obviously passionate about it. But I think the fact that, there's this voice, obviously you probably will have moments where you say, you're crying, you're having a bit of a breakdown period, but there's still that fire inside of you to go, look, times are going to be tough. And I'm sure as well with all this experience that you're going through, that's I guess going to be passed down to your son as well. If you know things aren't going well, things aren't going right, that again there's a solution to sort of every problem, generally speaking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's important for you to go through that as well. What's been, I mean, just in terms of like your business as a whole in the 4.5 years, what would you say has been like, I'm not saying the secret, but something that probably has helped you achieve the success that you've achieved that probably isn't or can't share on social media or can't come across on social media because it's glamified into it?
I think obviously posting, you know, videos and things like that, especially, you know, colon hydrotherapy videos, which are now more seen, but I did post one about 4 years ago.
Right.
And I thought, oh, do I post this or not? Because, you know...
Quite sensitive, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite like, obviously you can't see anything, but you can see the waist.
Yeah, quite intrusive. You can see,
you can see it going on. And, you know, I thought, I don't know, it might be taken down. But actually there's so many out there, and I'd probably, you know, have thousands now if everyone paid £1 for every viewing. The amount of views. And it was my friend, and she said, oh gosh, like everyone's going to know it's me because of the socks that I'm wearing. I was like,
because the socks are oh my God.
You're now famous on TikTok. But yeah, I think sort of that, definitely word of mouth, you know. I do have an online booking system, a website, and it's just building it up organically. You know, I've been to events, I've kind of just spoken to people, even in like, you know, shops and things like that, where I saw a guy and he was looking confused at like the milk. I went over And I was like, hi, are you confused? And we started chatting, and then he followed me on my Instagram, and he said, oh, he was like, yeah, I'm really struggling with this. I've been diagnosed with this. I was like, I can help. And he said, oh, a few of my friends actually follow you already. And he was obviously in the local area. So I think it's just talking to people about it and sort of, you know, not being afraid to discuss things and just being passionate for it. Because I think, you know, there's only so many like colon hydrotherapists, or obviously I do phlebotomy as well. And it's just having those conversations, because they might have never met anyone before that offers the same thing. So it's kind of like a new subject. Yeah, and some of the questions that I get asked, I'm like, yeah, I'm used to it. So whatever you say, you know, it's not going to...
So I think the thing, this is really good just for sort of our audience that are watching this to take away from you, that's obviously now been in business 4.5 years and you've got a wealth of experience, is that it is, you know, showcasing what you do, letting people in to even the stuff that like you've already resisted going, oh, if I sort of put that out, what are people going to think? Obviously your client doing the same thing, but you've still done it, and obviously that's helped the word of mouth aspect. But I think the biggest thing that I've taken away just from hearing you there, and it's something that I strongly think is more important than ever, is having a conversation, talking. We don't talk. You know, we're just very much behind screens. We don't even pick up a phone and ask a question. That's what's mind blowing,
crazy, isn't it?
But that's so important, and that's been so important for you. To have these people feel safe. You know, feel open enough to come and inquire a service from your clinic.
Because I mean, I've had people in before, and they, you know, they say, oh, nice to meet you, it's our first time meeting, and you know, I'm coming for this treatment. And I think it's not a treatment where you would see other therapists. You go to that one therapist, and you know, you build your trust with them, and you know, confidence, and you build that rapport. But it's seeing their journey and how they progress as well, and helping them through and everything. But yeah, I think it's definitely word of mouth, talking and just talking about, you know, it might be, I always say that you could see someone in the street and they're, you know, you're the first person that they've seen in a week because they've been in the house, you know, down and everything. And I think it really makes difference of being more honest and open and chatty to people, and not small talk. It's kind of like, you know, delve into kind of their life and what do they need support with and stuff. So yeah,
I think just how you said there about that experience with the guy as well, sort of in the supermarket, sort of looking at milk and looking confused, having the courage to you know, go over and ask as well. You know, obviously now with what you do, what would you say is sort of the biggest or the most common misconception when it comes to your services that you, if you could pick one?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, colon hydrotherapy.
I mean, that sounds quite technical in itself, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like,
it's scary.
It sounds quite sciencey or like a rigorous treatment. You know.
I mean, people call it all different things and probably have me in the phone as, you know, I don't know. Like,
colon woman.
Woman.
I don't know.
But yeah, like some of the things that people say, and I said, you know, for everyone that could have said that, I said, like, I need something on the wall, you know. But yeah, it's, I'm trying to think in terms of the misconception. So yeah, I mean, men and women have the treatment, you know. I think it's, some people might book in and have a consultation over the phone and want to know more about it. Some people are more online. Some people I've been talking to for like a year, you know, back and forth, and they're a bit, so how does this work? And I always say, how did you find it? Is it not as bad as you thought? And you know, people return, so clearly not.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, it's just ensuring that, you know, people are okay, and it is lovely to see people come back and you know, build that rapport with them and be able to help them, really. Because obviously I used to go and see someone for the treatment. And
so you know what it feels like?
Yeah, I know.
You know what it's like to be on the other side?
I remember my first treatment. I've had plenty of them now. Yeah. So
how did you feel on first one for you? Was it scary?
I was like, at the time, I think I was doing my driving lessons, so I was getting the bus. And I said, you know, I've got white jeans on. Am I going to be okay on the bus? She was like, yeah, it's fine.
No leakage.
No. But yeah, I really didn't know what I was going into. But I remember, yeah, sort of the panic. And then you obviously with aftercare, I was like, do I need to do this? Because like I say, it sounds very surgical, technical. And obviously, you know, the clinic space that I'm in, it is, you know, it is comfortable. It's not like you know, when you're having surgery. I have low lighting, you know, it's all comfortable, and we always lock the door and you're always covered up. So it's always to ensure that someone else is comfortable, because I think you've got to give, you know, a good experience. And I always want a really good result for you, you know. So I'm there for that advice and that, you know, specialise in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, hearing you talk though, there's definitely a calmness about it. I don't know, like, I feel that probably you would bring people a little bit down to a very grounded level, if you know, like, if they've got that panic, 'cause you'll feel it. 'Cause obviously you've been there as well as even somebody at the early ages of 17, doing driving lessons and going in for something like that treatment, like you said, most people are scared just by the name. You know, you know, through sort of these treatments that you offer, has there been anything that, from your experience now, that has sort of like shocked you the most? Something that you're like, honestly, people need to know more about.
Like, as in, I'm going to quit.
No, anything, So like, just anything that's sort of like...
I've had a few moments where I thought, is this for me? No, I'm joking. I do love the job. I think, I mean, I've had people with tapeworms.
Tell me more about this.
Yeah, so tapeworms, it can generally, you know, they can generally form through sort of, I guess, like the winter periods. It's very common in Australia because they eat a lot of fish, obviously the heat and things like that. And this can make you unwell. So it could just show symptoms of almost like IBS, like bloating, migraines, you know, lethargy, all things like that, diarrhea. And essentially this tapeworm is in the gut and it's taking all your nutrients. So people, you know, should be looking at, am I losing weight unexpectedly, which could be, you know, again, misconception of something else. So it's kind of, you know, keeping an eye on everything. But I treated someone recently, I said there was, you know, off work and everything, unwell, went to the GP. Obviously they didn't find anything. I don't think they did a colonoscopy, which is obviously the camera where it checks. I think people get mixed up between what I do and that sometimes as well. And it was only till the second treatment at the end, which was around a 50-minute treatment, that we found the worm. So that can be through...
What, an actual worm?
A worm. It's like a Chinese, like a noodle, kind of long, or they can be quite thick.
Really? How do they get in there? I'm just now I'm like,
it can be through contaminated foods. So it used to go abroad.
Could just be in the food.
Could be in the food. And then it's like bacteria and it's growing.
So that grows off bacteria.
Yeah. Right. So you're essentially the host and it's growing in there. So there's some really big horror stories of not that I've had to deal with.
No. What is a horror? Give us a horror story of like if you don't treat it or you just let it.
Well, when I went on the training, I think, from what I remember, it was a lady that was very, very holistic, that didn't want to take any doctor's advice. And it got to a point where they were coming out of her nose. And it had gone to her brain. So they can go...
Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do this... So they survive off bacteria?
So...
How do they live?
So it could be, cleanliness. You know, even if you went into like a lake and obviously you've got parasites in there. So you've got rats and... you know, whatever, all bacteria. So obviously our gut bacteria is made up of good, you know, and a bit of bad bacteria, if you like. But things like antibiotics that can strip the good bacteria.
I know they do, yeah.
You know, or stuff like that. But then you've got your probiotics and stuff that keeps everything balanced. So it's looking at like your immune system is low. That's when you can obviously sort of build that up. But yeah, generally like cleanliness, bacteria, meats. I mean, I've had... food poisoning where I lost a stone in weight, so that was bacteria. And I remember going to the hospital and they were just like, you've just got a tummy bug. And I'm like, this is actually sometimes for people life or death, like it's that bad. And that's why I'm really obviously passionate about the gut, because there's so many things that could go wrong. the colon bursting, dehydration. So from food poisoning, you can get dehydration, you could die. So it's just, it's a huge area. And, a lot of people now are having, if they've found it, like obviously a tumour or anything like that, they might have a stoma bag,
I've
and
seen quite a few people.
And it's becoming more common and quite worrying that, sometimes, obviously I'm not a doctor,
No.
but, if the colon was backed up, it might be that we could have a course of colon hydrotherapy treatments that is softening it down. But because it's so backed up, it's like, okay, let's remove the colon. And I do know some people that are going through that at the minute.
So obviously, I mean, we could go down so many avenues here. But the main thing is that's actually, like, even for me hearing it, it's quite scary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that this can be just inside your body and you can't see it.
Yeah.
So if anyone's sort of like listening, I know it can be quite a bit of not a negative topic, I guess, but it is an awareness topic. If anyone's, what are the signs? What can people just look out for and be aware? Like, because obviously we ignore it, don't we? We're just, we'll pop a pill and we'll be okay.
Yeah. I think it's, there's obviously lots of different signs. So it could be that, almost like water retention, like swelling, because your body probably needs to detox. Obviously diarrhea, constipation the other way, feeling sick, migraines.
It's not flushing
just
it out,
generally,
are you?
no, it's just running around the body, and you just need that detox. Obviously blood in stools, mucus and things like that. The colour of the stool as well. So obviously if you eat beetroot or anything like that, could turn pink. So I've had that in treatments, and you're just kind of asking, okay, if not, I would refer them to see a GP if I thought something was not right. Also, if the stool is really dark, that can also be a worry as well. So it's kind of gauging, but following like the Bristol stool chart and things like that, if anyone's seeing the same pattern that it's not improving, then it could just be as simple as changing your food. So food intolerances like myself, I've got everything under control, but whilst this is showing different sort of symptoms, your inflammation levels are going to be really high. So your body's just inflamed, and it needs detoxing, and it needs just sort of calming down. And everyone's so different, so it's hard to say, you need to follow this protocol. Each client that I see, it's bespoke and based on what their needs are.
I mean, obviously I know it's hard to sort of be so specialised in what you say, but the main thing is obviously just great shares there on the signs, for people, because I think, again, like you've said, I mean, you're saying it's becoming more comfortable to talk about, but people are still going through it. I mean, I've just got a little bit of a 3-worder here, like check your poo, sort of thing, check your poo.
Exactly.
As weird, as cringy, as uncomfortable as that sounds.
Because I have some people during the treatment, they don't like to watch, whereas obviously I have to, and it's...
but we do it as mum, like you're talking about a mum, like, you'll see your son poo, and it'll be like, oh, that's a good poo.
It's not green, or
like it's not yellow, or it's not diarrhea. Like we're like it, right? Like she's had a good celebrates had a good poo, but then like we get as adults, we're more mature, and we're scared. We don't want to look away.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think because I recognise if I've had some dairy, which I don't, I'm intolerant to, and eggs and all the nice stuff. But I know. But with eggs, I can, my stomach is in agony after eggs. So
you don't have eggs anymore, obviously, no?
No. Treat now and then, but I regret it when I do it. So I think, it's just, it could be something so simple. It could be that you have got a tapeworm in there and we need to get to it. And that's ideally as well why we suggest having 2 treatments close together, because your first one, there's a lot to budge. Like your colon is huge. It could be really backed up. It could be all into your hips at the top. And then, your second one is kind of that reset, like cleaning the remains out and that kind of thing.
Sewage, waste.
I know. So there's no smell, there's no noise.
No, I think obviously it's something that I guess you wouldn't think of. With people having this treatment, what, I'm just curious now, what's been the youngest client that you've had in the clinic?
The youngest? I think he was 9.
Really?
Yeah.
And what, just suffering from like irritable bowel syndrome?
So he was, so obviously people that suffer with autism and ADHD, not necessarily suffer, because everyone's the same.
Well,
but,
yeah, I know what you mean. Got the condition, yeah.
Yeah, so that can actually, they can suffer with the digestive issues, as well as other things. So they can, as a sensory, it opens another field of things, but as a sensory thing, especially at a younger age, they might struggle to go to the toilet, so they're holding it in because they don't like the feeling.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, so I've learned a lot about it with treating certain clients, but yeah, so I treated this particular client, but yeah, he did, he did amazing, and it wasn't very nice, for me, his mum and other people that came, but yeah.
Has that helped though with him? I don't know if you keep in touch.
Help.
Did it help with him since
to
to be a bit more comfortable around that feeling?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, we've got to do it in small, shorter sessions rather than a longer session for it to be, an improvement. But yeah, I've treated, people with lots of different medical conditions. Obviously, there can be contraindications to some, some of the treatments that I offer, but generally speaking, yeah, it's, it's always helped.
Yeah, but now this is what I mean. It's just interesting. Like 9 years old.
Yeah.
In my head, I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Probably
Generally 18.
30. Really? In my head, because I think
as an average, yeah,
just the only reason, and it's
quite
not
a mature treatment in a way.
Yeah, I'd have just thought like probably your 20s, you sort of partying.
There's a lot more, 18 to 20-year-olds coming in now. Yeah.
And is that just due to again the gut not being healthy, or are they doing the colon hydrotherapy? Is it hydrotherapy?
Yeah, colon hydrotherapy.
Do they do that as well?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can see things online and it can be a bit of a trend. So like IVs, certain ones, Kim K might have had, an NAD sort of.
That helps you though.
Yeah.
It's like, if it's the in thing.
Lewis Capaldi's had colon hydrotherapy. Really? He's filmed his experience.
Oh, wow.
Quite a few people.
How much did he get paid for that?
I know. He was laying there. He was actually really calm, and he was like, "Yeah, I feel really relaxed." I was like, "Oh, I just need him to come into my clinic now."
Drop him a message.
Yeah,
Lewis, if you're watching this, get in touch.
Yeah, get in touch. I'll put you in. But yeah, I think going back to what was we talking about,
the age that you talked about, ADHD, autism, whatever. I was saying I thought it'd be like 30.
Yeah, so I've treated people with the arthritis, straight from having a mummy makeover, tummy tucks, all things like that. People need it in lymphatic massage. But I would say for men, the youngest generally...
Something's happened here. Sorry. I'm just going to make sure. No, sorry. Make sure. Oh, it's still on. I just thought it had stopped. Yeah, I will be recording 47 minutes. Absolutely fine. Yeah, perfect. Keep going. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. Oh, God. So, yeah, I think for men, probably youngest being 18, but I'd say sort of as an average, like 30 plus, for men that are coming in for certain treatments. Obviously, there's blood testing, so, testosterone tests, that's becoming more like an average of 30 as well.
It's I hear this a lot.
Yeah.
With obviously what I do in fitness, like a lot of the guys that I've chat to, it's becoming more of a thing. They're getting tested for it, and
definitely,
stuff like that.
Because things can change. Women going through menopause. I'm always learning from other people and always asking, respectfully, their medical condition. Okay, like what do you do day to day, and how do you deal with it, and things like that. So it's good to kind of get more of an understanding. Also, women with endometriosis, it's a huge thing, but there's a huge hole of kind of no support in terms of charities and things like that. And it's slowly getting there, but it's that understanding, I think, and being able to support someone or give them advice, even with eating certain foods and things like that, that can trigger areas as well. So, just learning all the time, really, from person to person.
Well, that's great that, you're working with all different ages as well, different personalities. With what, obviously, you do, and I'm sure there's probably, I don't want to say frustration, maybe a challenge of being able to get a clear message across
Yeah.
people to be aware of more what you do and,
Yeah.
and what it is you offer. What would you like to sort of say, even on this podcast show, that people need to
Yeah.
think or consider
Yeah.
about more when it comes to the gut health?
Yeah, I think it's, some obviously different generations might think, okay, we did all this was kind of like, back in the day it was a lot of like drinking and smoking, and that was the norm around children. And obviously generations change, but I think don't wait until it gets bad, treat it before. So, because I think, even with having like back massages, you might be sat at a desk, every day. You need that as part of your, support. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad back in the future. It could be arthritis. You're on a laptop all day. So I think it's kind of addressing it now. There's no point in waiting, because waiting, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah.
So even with colon hydrotherapy, I will say, I would like to see you in so many weeks' time, see how you get on, but don't let yourself get bad. We don't want it to, just have a treatment because I'm bad, I've been on holiday and, I'm congested and everything. It's kind of like we need to keep on top of it for it to be beneficial. Otherwise, you are going to be uncomfortable and we might not get the results that we want as well.
This is a good message. I think the fact that you're wanting people to be proactive, but we still tend to be reactive.
Yeah.
What, in your own opinion and experience, what do you think the reason is for people being more reactive to when it's happened, when it's like, oh, now I need to, rather than actually, like you say, being proactive with it?
I think, I do try and educate people in terms of that. So I even say, if you're not, booking in for another session, just like your hair, your nails, going to the gym, meal prep, whatever, put in your diary in 3 months' time with a question mark, colonic, or, IV or whatever it is that they need, like an injection, because, see how you feel in that week, and if I can obviously book them in, that's great. But I think, but not letting it get bad. But I have had some people like, I'm actually feeling okay at the minute. So, but I've also had people the other way where they've been away, changed the diet, obviously completely, being like, I need an emergency treatment because I'm really struggling and I'm up all night and everything. So I've also had it on that way. So it is hard to gauge, but I think I can advise further because I know what we might see unless anything drastically changes in that time. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just like the UK now. We're workaholics and we wait for things to get bad, or we wait till we need something. But I think it's like, you obviously want it, but you need it as well. So it's a must rather than a
But it's
they're
your
like
health.
a treat, and it's your health.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got some similar sort of, values, obviously, with health, and we could go into so many different ways of why it's so important, because it's yourself, right? It's your body. Where life's not a dress rehearsal. We're only sort of here once.
Yeah.
With obviously that what you shared was brilliant. What is now what's your dream vision for your clinic? Where do you want it to be?
Yeah, so I want to grow the clinic, and work with other expertise that we can create that sort of journey
Do you want a team?
under the one. Yeah,
Okay.
a team of specialists that work under the same sort of area of health and wellness, and to be able to create that journey for the client, be able to heal naturally rather holistically, rather than masking this with tablets, that's actually just covering up the problem. It's just going to be an ongoing cycle, and then this can go down other areas that can lead to something else. So it always backfires on other things. I treated a guy recently and he had reflux, and he says, I want to try a food intolerance test. Realised what his triggers were, so simple, but it was having them every day. And it was even healthy, so it's not like he was eating bad food, but sometimes certain foods just don't suit us. And he then took them foods out. He was like, my reflux is gone and I've been taking these tablets for 10 years. So he was just basically having some food, having his reflux tablet, and it was just like a cycle.
Doing completely different opposite
so
things.
Actually, you're wasting your money on, buying these tablets.
Yeah, for years on end.
Yeah.
When you could probably save more than that.
Yeah.
In one single treatment.
Yeah. So it's crazy, but
so you want a team?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's next for you then? What's the next step?
Well, it might be like a secret.
Ooh.
Exciting.
Can you give us a teaser?
Yeah. But no, I would love to branch out. I would love I love Cornwall and places like that, and I know that there's nothing there, I don't think, within what I offer.
Do you want a franchise?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to franchise the clinic?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyone in Cornwall?
Yeah.
Get in touch.
I have had, clients from London and Cornwall come this way and see me, so it's quite nice. Manchester, all over really. Yeah, I was like, oh, I've come all the way from Cornwall. So
that's brilliant. So obviously, I mean, I think it's great that you want a team and stuff. Obviously, I don't know if you find this, but really hard to trust people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you can rely on, that would be as passionate.
Yeah, follow the same ethos. And
even if they're a different specialist in, like say, you had a physiotherapist or a psychologist.
Yeah.
But you're the clinical therapist when it comes to colon hydrotherapy, whatever it may be, lymphatic massage.
Yeah.
To be able to all be sort of in it
together,
because it's always sort of like a one-way street. That's the but then again, like I said, that's your dream vision, and that's sort of what you want to go for. So I want to ask you this, because we are sort of getting towards the end of this episode. I've got a couple of more questions, not many more, but if someone was sort of watching this episode today or listening back on the car journey, and they're probably going to have loads and loads of questions about sort of what you sort of do, what you offer. If you could simplify it into sort of one sentence on what it is that you give back to people.
Yeah. Okay.
What would that
be? I would say I'm there to support, to heal, to listen and to be part of your future self, really, your health journey. Because I think, I'm there to listen and, I'm there for the support anytime. It's great for the business. I love my business, but I'm there to help people. I'm not there for other things, It's, if I'm passionate about something, you devote all your love to it and your time and your effort. And, that's what I would want people to know, that they can come to that calm, safe, space and be able to get the results that they actually want and need.
The body's a temple.
Yeah.
And you've got your temple. Come into my temple and let's make it. I love that. I think that's really nice, and you can just tell as well from you sharing it that you've got such a genuine heart towards this as well, that you are in it to help people transform their lives. It doesn't feel transactional.
No.
Even though obviously you've got loads of things you're doing. Yes, obviously you're a business owner, you want business, right? But you can see that it's coming from such a genuine sort of place, which I think is which is really really good. I have got a question, and this is a question I ask every guest, and I'd just love to hear sort of your perspective. It would be a nice little piece to sort of bring it all together. Sophie, what does mastering your life mean to you?
Mastering life. I don't know, is this a hard question or is it quite an
No, it's some people take a bit of time to answer it, so we could go straight off,
In terms of
if you can get to your end of your life and you're on your death's door, and you can be like, you know what, I'm ready to go. I've done it. I've mastered it. I feel.
Yeah, I think I saw a medium recently, and she said, "You're a healer, aren't you?" And I was like,
she never
met me. No. Didn't know what I did, but she had loads of potions of supplements in the kitchen, which I was like, that's amazing. Like a witchcraft thing. But I think I was meant to be on this path. I've done other things in the past that I enjoyed, but I never thought I'd be doing this, what I do. But I feel like if I've helped, so many people to live a better life, to live longer, then I've done what I've, you know, set out to do and progress in.
So you're a healer.
Yeah,
Yeah, helping
I'm
people.
healing.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
So if
it.
you've mastered your life,
I'm
you've
like
healed people, you've looked after
I'm
yourself.
like a gut healer. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the new gut healer.
The new gut
well,
healer?
not the new, because
No,
I've been
I know.
around for 4.5
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I'll call myself that. So
The gut healer, that's
yeah,
it. That's the title. I love
yeah,
it.
that's it.
Brilliant. So if anyone's sort of watching this and they want to maybe start a conversation, because we spoke about conversation earlier on in the episode,
Yeah.
where's the best place that they can start that conversation or connect with you or follow you?
So yeah, I think definitely following the Instagram is a great way to, you know, see different facts and message me anytime. But also, you know, you can book a telephone consultation, which is obviously free of charge. So you can book that to suit your diary. And and then we can have a chat. I've even had some people that want to actually come to the clinic to see it, and that is so fine as well.
So where's your clinic based, just if anyone's watching?
So it's based in Mansfield Woodhouse, which is Nottinghamshire, and it is private. It's not on, you know, you can park. There's no sign there, so it's very private.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's a nice space. You know, and it's not a busy clinic or anything like that. I think people sometimes are a bit anxious about, you know, where to park, and I know that I do that. I tend to check it out before I get there or what's on the menu. But yeah, I think, you know, I've had someone before drive towards the clinic and drive off because they was too nervous. Oh. And I said, come back.
Oh, really?
I was like, come and just have a chat with me. She had the treatment. She was like, I can't believe I drove off. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you saw him pull up and then
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right.
But you know, I think it's great to see the face of the professional. I always look, even if I'm having my eyelashes done.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you just want to see where you're going. You know, it's a nice clean space. You want to see your qualifications, you know, all things like that, which I can, you know, certainly provide. But yeah, I think that's important, and sometimes building that conversation up before you come in, and people might have one treatment and want to know more about other things. So, but they're all going to benefit you at the end of the day. So they're not just there for no reason.
No, I know. Well, that's good. Yeah, but again, you're that safe space. But no, that's good. Well, look, we'll make sure that, you know, all of that information is clickable as well, so people can just easily from the show notes follow you and stuff like that. But look, final thing from me.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed it,
it's been
and
great.
I appreciate you coming down to the studio and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.